Sup, guys? It's Toad back with you for Better Off Dead. Monday, June 23rd. Is that where we're at right now? Can I hear myself? Can you hear me? I think I can. I'm like, I gotta get back into the swing of everything, man. I'm back from Florida. You know how professional I am, right? I have no production value. It's just me and myself here. Uh, all right. We got a lot to recap, actually. I apologize. I was trying to do the walking bet segment, walking the land at Top Lobster's house. I got the one up on Friday, and Saturday it took the entire day to upload. And yesterday I was like, well, I have to fly out in the morning. I have to leave in the morning. I'm like, whatever. I'll just tweet out my bets with no analysis. So I kind of want to recap it all really fast. Thursday, I went 2-1 as the WNBA play was an outright win on the 11.5-point underdog Golden State Valkyries. So that was a win. Unfortunately, a loss on a little bit of a money line price on the Blue Jays that day. And then I did get the win on the Game 2 St. Louis Cardinals play in the doubleheader, which kind of got lucky on that one. They were winning early on. And I was thinking, oh, crap, I should have made it a first 5-inning play because they were winning after the first 5. They blew the whole thing. But then they wound up winning anyway. I think they might have won it by 2 in extra innings. So get a little bit lucky there. I think I handicapped the starting pitching correctly, at least there. So that wound up being a win. So that was a 2-1 day. We had, I'm trying to remember everything that I did there. Friday, what do we have? Friday, I think I went 1-1. Is that right? I gave out, I went 2-1. I gave out Tampa Bay, the Rays. They won in the first game against Detroit. I think I gave a little bit of analysis out on the Walking Bets segment. Cincinnati Reds, unfortunately, lost, although I think they were worth the shot as the underdog there. And then I did hit on the Washington Mystics, WNBA. So WNBA kind of rolling again right now with a couple of wins in a row. 2 big underdogs there. And Washington almost pulled out an outright win as well in that one, but they lost, I think, by 1 or 2. Then Saturday, I just gave out 2 baseball plays, and they went 1-1 as Philadelphia did not hit in the first 5 innings or the full game, actually, I don't think. They were down 1 run, and I think they lost by 1 run as well. The under in Kansas City, San Diego in that game with Cameron against Cease, I think is what the pitching matchup was there. That one hit. So that was 1-1. And then yesterday, I tweeted out 4 plays, and those went 2-2 as I took another shot on Tampa. They did not get there. They got blasted. The Red Sox Giants under did not happen, although both starting pitchers actually did okay in that game, although the under in the first 5 innings didn't even hit either. But there were a lot of fielding miscues on the part of the Red Sox, which is something very common for the Red Sox. Their fielding is atrocious. They're a young team. They got to get their shit together, man. I mean, they need some leadership there. Duran has got to take over as I know he's still young, but he's got to take over as the veteran leader there at this point, pretty much. And Devers was never going to do it. Unfortunately, the Red Sox didn't win in the Giants series, even though the Red Sox did take the first game of the series. So, yeah, that game made me look like an idiot as far as how far that game skyrocketed over the total, but it wasn't really as high scoring a game as it looked, I wouldn't say. And then we had, although there were a lot of hits, I mean, it was definitely a loss. And then we had, I gave out a winner on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Congratulations to the Thunder, by the way, as they won the NBA championship. I hit my series bet on that. I decided to I let that one roll, and I didn't actually make the play that I gave out through tweets, as I've been saying right now, because I'm trying to conserve money. I haven't actually been betting these, but I'm just giving out the picks. I did give out the Thunder at -7. I thought that price was just way too short, man. I mean, the Thunder were 9, 10-point favorites in every other home game. They'd been dominant at home, covering all but 2 games, I think, at home in the postseason. And one of those non-covers was game 1 of the finals where they blew a huge lead. And quite obviously, I think they should have won and covered that game. I think that was a fluke. Of course, everybody's going to say, well, Halliburton got injured, man. I mean, yeah, that's awful. He was already kind of injured coming into the game. Then he tore his Achilles, I think, early on. I still think Oklahoma City would have taken care of business anyway, though. So people are going to discount Oklahoma City because of that, but I just don't think so. I mean, they were too dominant at home, but either way, I had my series price on Oklahoma City, the series bet that I actually did play after game 3 when Oklahoma City was down 2-1. So I figured I have that bet already. I'll just let that hit, and I don't want to double up on Oklahoma City and, like spread myself not spread myself too thin, but just put all my eggs in one basket, basically. Because I'm like, well, I already have this bet I'm going to win this bet if they win the game. So why would I add more to it and lay the points? I mean, I guess you could if you feel that strongly about it. I still thought it was the right play. And one thing I forgot to mention in my breakdown of the previous couple of games is that after the way that Indiana lost game 4, where they're winning the game late and they imploded, I thought that would carry over into game 5, which it did. I thought it would kind of create a hangover effect there. Then Oklahoma City did kind of trounce them in game 5, which then kind of meant maybe it would shift a little bit back to Indiana there as far as a zigzag scenario, bounce back. And yet they obviously blew Oklahoma City out in game 6, although I really didn't expect that because a lot of times teams fall down 3-2. A lot of times they kind of just die out at that point, especially with Halliburton not being 100%. Although I did say I thought he was going to do better in that game, and he certainly did. But because that game was such a ridiculous blowout and Oklahoma City's worst game of the entire season, probably, of the entire year, I thought that it was a nice zigzag spot to lay the points with Oklahoma City in Game 7 as well. And the public continued to be on the Pacers the entire way as well. So I just wanted to break that down a little bit. I didn't really give out the analysis on my baseball plays yesterday, but a lot of it was really just about the pitching matchups. I liked Tampa Bay with Littell against Mize, and that one didn't get. I really don't like Mize very much. I thought it was a decent spot to fade Detroit, where the public would just be all over the Detroit Tigers because their record is good, especially getting a slight underdog price. That one didn't hit. The pitching matchup in the Reds and St. Louis was Abbott against Mikolas, and I'm like, that's just a mismatch, man. Abbott has been excellent, and the books really, I don't even know if they've really totally caught up to how good Abbott is right now, so that was a winner. He did well again yesterday in that game. And then the other game, the other game I lost, I liked the starting pitching matchup actually for Giolito against Ray in the Red Sox-Giants game as well. There, not a lot of history for those hitters against those pitchers, so that was kind of something I factored into that one. But anyway, it was a 2-2 day. Andrew, what's up, man? I'm not even sure what... Heil Toad, is that what that is? All right. The Dave Portnoy 109. Oh, wait, I didn't steal your joke, but I guess I'm unoriginal. I never saw that tweet, man. I'm unoriginal. Dude, I'm getting accused of stealing jokes like all over the place. Some comedian I've never heard of accused me of stealing the Midnight Hammer joke or whatever. Operation Midnight Hammer. I mean, maybe it's just too obvious a joke. I said that's what happened to Paul Pelosi. I didn't even see anybody else make that joke. So I guess maybe I made the same joke that somebody else did. I have no idea. But some comedian was like, you stole the joke. I'm like, no. Like maybe people just had the same independent thought. Whatever. I mean, sure. All right. I'm not original. I mean, that's my, I guess that's the thing that you could say about me is that I'm not original. My mind is all fucked up right now, man. We're talking about baseball. That's all we got today, man. I'm going to give out 2 plays in baseball here, and they're actually going to be in the first 2 games here. Let me just make sure I know what my prices are that I have on these. What is the best price on these? 'Cause I'm actually going to give out a play in the first 2 games on the slate, and then actually I have one other one too. I have 2 sides in the first 2 games, and then I have a total in one of the slightly later games. All right, let me just put this in here. First game up, I am going to recommend a play on the Texas Rangers, plus 110. I think getting them at an underdog price is pretty solid here, man. First of all, if you look at what happened yesterday, Baltimore was playing the New York Yankees, man, and they had a close game. They were winning that game 2-1 against the Yankees. That was the rubber match in that series. So Baltimore had a chance to win the series in the Bronx. They lost the game late, and Baltimore did use some of their relievers in that game, some of their better relievers, and Baltimore's not a good bullpen anyway. So you have the less rested and worse bullpen for Baltimore here right off the bat, and they're coming off a huge series against the Yankees, so I think it's a bit of a hangover spot. And to add to add more negatives to Baltimore's situation here, they're returning from a road trip. I know it was only a 2-series road trip. They went to Tampa and then New York. But still, when teams return home from road trips, man, a lot of times it's a bad spot, especially for a team that's bad. And I would say Baltimore is indeed a bad team. When teams return home from road trips, they have to get back to family life. It can be a distraction, especially after you're coming off a huge series against the Yankees. it's only really a step down from there. So you might not pay as much attention to the Texas Rangers. And the Rangers are already mid-road trip, and they're coming in off an ugly loss to Pittsburgh yesterday. So I think the Rangers are going to be kind of fired up after that bad loss. And I kind of think the Rangers are not as bad as their record indicates. Their pitching is actually good. Their hitting has not come around yet, but you lose to the Pittsburgh Pirates, I think you're going to be a little bit pissed off after a loss like that, especially you lose 8-3. Texas, however, in that game actually saved basically their entire bullpen too, as Jack Leiter didn't do that well in Texas. I think only used one relief pitcher to just finish the rest of the game because the game was out of hand. So again, you have the better bullpen and more rested bullpen with the Texas Rangers here. Starting pitching, I know we're going with Patrick Corbin in this one. I don't like doing it. I don't want to do it. I've really pretty much hated this guy from a betting standpoint for the last several years. Really, I never liked this guy. I never thought he was good. And it's come to this. We're going to bet on Patrick Corbin as an underdog here, or at least I'm going to give it out as a play. He's having a pretty good season, man. Texas Rangers seem like their pitching coaching staff is pretty good, and they can find something in a pitcher that looks like he is on the verge of retirement. Corbin has a 3.91 ERA, 1.25 whip this year. Whip is higher than I would like to see, but not terrible. His home road splits are not really that significant. He's pitching decently this month, just pretty much mediocre, going at least 5 innings in all 3 starts, allowing 2, 3, and 4 earned runs in each of them, 12-5 strikeout walk ratio, 4.5 ERA, so average. But he's at least like keeping his team in games here. Baltimore's not a very good offense, so that's who he's going up against here. And he has good numbers against him. In 30 career at-bats, he has a 7-1 strikeout walk ratio, has held him to a 167 average, only 5 hits, and a 487 OPS. So Patrick Corbin has done well against this Baltimore lineup, and he's up against Trevor Rogers. I talked about him when he made his first start this season. I don't know what we're going to get out of this guy, man, because he has not pitched a whole lot. Well, he's only made 2 starts this season. He did actually have pretty much a full season last year, but it wasn't good between Miami and Baltimore. And it seems like I think he was injured in 2023, and he just has not bounced back from that. He had a really good season way back in 2021, but it's looking more like an outlier at this point, so I don't trust Rodgers here, even though he does have a 3.12 ERA and 1.15 whip this year. It's only in 2 starts. He had 1 good start at Fenway, which was pretty impressive, but then he just got wrecked in his last start at Tampa Bay, only lasted 2 1/3, walked 3 guys, 5 hits allowed. That's way too many men to put on base, and I understand that's in Steinbrenner Stadium, or Steinbrenner Field, whatever the hell it is, a spring training stadium that's kind of designed like Yankee Stadium, so it's kind of designed for the ball to leave the yard, although he didn't even allow any home runs in that game. He just didn't pitch well. So I'm not really expecting that much out of Trevor Rogers in this game. Up against the Texas Rangers, we actually have some stats here. Their lineup has 37 at-bats against them, and they have a 270 average and 767 OPS. So they've hit him okay. His numbers are a lot worse than Corbin's are against the opposing lineup. So it's a bad spot for Baltimore. We're getting the better bullpens. I think we get the better of the starting pitching matchup here too, matchup-wise, and I actually trust Corbin more right now. I think Rodgers is a big-time wild card here. Baltimore is a favorite in this spot. Yeah, we'll fade them. They're actually down from -125 to -123. Public is actually on Baltimore, 59% of tickets, which makes 0 sense to me at all. And 54% of the cash coming in on Texas. So the market read is on Texas here. The money line has moved in that direction. The cash is on Texas in that game. And again, it's also a letdown spot or hangover spot for Baltimore. So Texas, getting them at an underdog price, I think is a good price there. I mean, I think that they have a decent shot to win that game. Next up is Atlanta, the Braves at the Mets here. You know what I always say, man? I look to fade teams that just came out of that just came off of the Sunday night game, and that's what we're going to look at here. I'm going to recommend laying the price here, even though I know the price has gone up a little bit. Atlanta Braves money line, it's still in like a playable price range here at -135. Play them to just win the game. If you want to make it so that it's not as expensive, I mean, you can lay like a -1 run line or something like that on DraftKings, or split half the bet on the money line, half the bet on a -1.5 run line to get it in a better price range there. But then, of course, you need them to win by more than one to actually win the full bet if you do that. But I like the fade of the Mets here, man. They were just at Philadelphia. That was a huge series for the Mets against the team that's competing with them right now in the NL East. I mean, these teams are one game apart from each other right now. Huge series, and the Mets lost that game 7-1. So in a way, people are going to think, well, they're going to bounce back maybe after losing that ugly. I just don't really think so, man. I mean, that was a huge series against Pittsburgh. And even though, yeah, I know the Mets did just play Atlanta the series before that, and they got swept. So the Mets might still pay attention to Atlanta. It is a return home spot for the Mets. And again, it's a quick turnaround time, and they have to travel. It's only from Philadelphia to New York, but still travel off of a late game. Atlanta has a rest advantage here. That's why I like one of the reasons to fade the Sunday night teams, man, is that there's that quick turnaround time. And it's still, the Mets got up for that series against Philadelphia, man. I mean, there's no way around that. Atlanta is 10 games behind them. So even though I know the Mets just got swept by Atlanta, I still don't know that Atlanta is going to have their full focus there, even though it is Atlanta. They are kind of a staple of this division. They did just sweep the Mets. I just don't like the spot for the Mets here at all. And I don't like the starting pitching matchup, which I'll talk about in a second. The Mets have also been playing bad baseball, man. That one win they had against the Phillies was their only win, going all the way back to a series against Washington where they finally won a game. And starting with that last game when they won against Washington, they've scored 4 or fewer runs in all but 2 games in that entire stretch, getting swept by Tampa, swept by Atlanta, losing 2 out of 3 to Philadelphia. So they've lost 8 of their last 9 games. They're playing bad baseball right now, man, especially offensively, even though, yes, I know the Mets have a good offense. They could turn it around at some point. Their offense is going to come back at some point. And yes, they have a good bullpen, but I just don't. I really don't like the spot. I think it's fine to go full game on this. The Mets used a few of their relief pitchers yesterday, although they didn't use any of their better relief pitchers yesterday. Mets do have a better bullpen than Atlanta. There's no question about that. But the Mets, they're going to be going to their bullpen early in this game, man. And Atlanta did not have to use that much of their bullpen yesterday in a loss to the Marlins. So I think Atlanta's going to be a little bit pissed off after losing the Marlins. I mean, that's kind of an ugly game there. I think Atlanta actually lost the series. Sandy Alcantara actually starting to pitch better for the Marlins, which I like to see because it's just sad what's happened to that guy. He used to be really good. He's pitching better. Atlanta had a bad start from Elder, but they really saved they saved a lot of their bullpen. They only used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. So I think the bullpen equation of this kind of balances out a little bit, especially because Paul Blackburn is pitching for the Mets. And he's not the guy that you want on the mound here, man. I'm sorry. He had a delayed start to the season. He's coming back off injury. He's just never really been a good pitcher, though. 6.92 ERA, 1.69 whip. I mean, that's not good. His ERA at home this year is 108, and he's allowed an 800 batting average. I understand it was only one start where he went 1/3 of an inning and got absolutely wrecked, but still, he hasn't been good either at home or on the road. But that one start he had at home was his worst start. And to make it even worse, he just faced Atlanta, so they just saw him. And he didn't even do well in that game. He only went 3 2/3. So we're expecting an early exit here from Paul Blackburn, man. And he walked a couple guys in that start, gave up 4 hits, a bunch of 3 earned runs. So the fact that Atlanta just saw him means they're also recently familiar with him. And I know that's going to be the case with both starting pitchers here, but Blackburn is absolutely the lesser of the 2 starting pitchers here. I think you're going to get an early exit from Blackburn. The bullpen's going to come into that game. Blackburn, by the way, also does not have good numbers against the Braves historically. And 36 at-bats, 4.4 strikeout walk ratio is no good. A 3.06 average and a 9.31 OPS. That's not good either. So the Braves hit him well, and the Braves are sending Spencer Schwellenbach to the mound. You know I like this guy. I mean, I might even argue he's their best pitcher. I actually kind of like him better than Sale, even though Sale is really good. I mean, one of the two is obviously the best. Schwellenbach having a good season, 3.26 ERA, 1.01 whip. He's less heralded than Chris Sale. Yes, he's been a little bit worse on the road, 4.19 ERA. That concerns me a little bit, but he's pitching well right now, man. He has a 3.68 ERA this month. 3 starts where he's got 6 or more innings in all 3, including a complete game against Milwaukee. 21-4 strikeout walk ratio shows you that he has command. He had a 22-0 strikeout walk ratio the last 2 starts of May as well. So he is definitely in form right now, getting a lot of strikeouts, not walking a lot of guys. Yeah, he did just face the Mets, so they are recently familiar with him. But he went 7 innings. He allowed 4 runs, which I actually think was a little bit misleading because he gave up 2 home runs in that game. So he actually pitched better than the 4 runs make it look. He had a pretty decent start in that game, and I think he's ready to do it again. I mean, he's a good pitcher. He's pitching consistently. He's a guy that can go out there and do it again, and the Mets do not have good numbers against him. It's 61 career at-bats, 16-2 strikeout walk ratio, 180 average, 551 OPS. So they had seen him before that previous start, and he still did fairly well in that game, and I think he's going to do well again here. So the Braves are the play in that game. The line's already way up from -105 to -135. I wish that I had gotten to this earlier with a better number, but still, it's the right side, in my opinion. The public, for whatever reason, is on Atlanta, I guess because the Mets have been so bad recently, because Blackburn is a lot worse than Schwellenbach. The public probably is aware of this. 65% of tickets on Atlanta, but I think it's a situation where the professionals are on Atlanta even heavier than the public is. 76% of the cash on Atlanta. Or I think it's going to reach a point where the public might be tempted to take the Mets at a home underdog price here. Like, why is the team with the better record getting a home underdog price? Well, as I just explained, I think Atlanta has every advantage in this game pretty much, except that their bullpen isn't as good. Well, their bullpen isn't as good and their offense isn't as good, but still, I think that all balances out, man. So yeah, 76% of the cash on Atlanta compared to 65% of tickets down the line has moved way up on Atlanta. So that tells me the actual money is coming in on the Braves side. So that is my recommendation there. And again, fading a team returning home off the Sunday night game, a big weekend series there. That's a fade spot. The Yankees are up against the Cincinnati Reds here. The Reds are also returning home from a road trip. Although I don't think they're going to overlook the Yankees. It was only a 1-series road trip to St. Louis, so Reds probably will not overlook the Yankees. I mean, they're one of the best teams in baseball coming into your house. Probably you're not going to overlook them. The Yankees are coming off that divisional series where they won against Baltimore. They're starting a road trip. So usually a team starting a road trip is a focused team wanting to get the road trip off on the right foot. So I expect the Yankees probably will be focused here. And after their offense hit that slide, their offense has been a little bit better over the last couple of games. But the Yankees have Alan Winans listed as their starter here. I mean, this guy's 29 years old. What are we going to get out of this guy? Your guess is as good as mine, man. I mean, this guy, he made a couple of appearances last year with Atlanta. They lost both games that he appeared in. He went 5 or fewer innings in both of them. He pitched in 2023 as well. Had a couple of deeper starts there, but with Atlanta, they lost 4 out of the 6. So he just has not been an effective pitcher over his career. 7.2 ERA, 1.58 WHIP. I mean, this guy is basically just a guy that you have to like put in there just to fill a spot pretty much. So I'm not expecting a whole lot from the Yankees starting pitching here. He's up against Nick Lodolo, who is having a good season for Cincinnati. 3.71 ERA, 1.11 WHIP. But he is significantly worse at home, which is a non-pitcher-friendly park in Great American Ballpark. 5.4 ERA at home. That's not good. His numbers this month have been kind of all over the place. He actually had 2 pretty decent starts and 1 bad start against Cleveland, which is skewing his numbers. A 14-4 strikeout walk ratio is a decent indicator that he is pitching fairly well right now. And actually, the 2 good starts were actually at home, which is interesting because he's been worse at home this season in general. Up against the Yankees, he does not have good numbers. It's a small 18 at-bat sample size. Only 3 of their hitters have seen him before, but Goldschmidt is 4 for 8 with 2 home runs. So if you want to look for a player prop there, I always recommend hits plus runs plus RBIs, because then if you get a walk, it at least can still get you some of those statistics there potentially. Goldschmidt has been good off of him. Lodolo has a 444 average against when facing the Yankees and 1,333 OPS with a 2-2 strikeout walk ratio. Yeah, it's a small sample size. He hasn't done well, though, so my lean in this game would be to the over, and the total is way high, and it's high for a reason. It's up from 9 to 10 already. Looks like the public likes the over as well, which is typical. I mean, they'll play an over in a Yankees game for the most part. even if the Yankees have not been hitting well recently. 79% of tickets, 75% of the cash on the over, so less of the cash, but I still agree with it. I think that's a significant move from 9 juice to the over all the way to 10 juice to the over. And if the odds makers are putting a line out that high where it's already at 10, the odds makers are telling you they think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I agree with that. Cincinnati's bullpen isn't that good either. Yankees bullpen, decent, but still, I think the over is the way to look. You can see both starting pitchers kind of getting knocked around in that game. The D-backs are at the Chicago White Sox. White Sox are returning from a one-series road trip to Toronto, where they actually won the series against Toronto. I don't know what we're going to expect out of Chicago here, though, in general. The White Sox up against Arizona. Arizona did save a lot of their bullpen yesterday, and they are coming off a bad game against Colorado, where they lost the last game against Colorado, and they're continuing a road trip. So they've been on the road for a while. They are facing a lot of travel here. They actually started in Toronto, then had to go all the way back to the Mountain Time Zone to face Colorado. Now they're zigzagging all over the place. Now they're coming back to face the White Sox. Seems like it would have made more sense to play Toronto than the White Sox than Colorado. I'm not a schedule maker, though, but this is kind of a ridiculous schedule for Arizona here. But the White Sox do suck, so at least there is that. Of course, Arizona, huge advantage here for them is that their hitting is way better than the White Sox. Pitching, I'm not so sure. Eduardo Rodriguez is pitching for the D-backs, not having a good season. 5.93 ERA, 1.62 whip. He's been pretty bad both home and away, not really significant splits. This month, though, he has a 2.81 ERA. Hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any of the 3 starts. Although he did walk 3 guys in the outing against Toronto. Didn't make it 5 innings in that game. He is pitching a little bit better right now than he was prior to that this season. So he is starting to maybe come into form a little bit, although those 3 walks in the last start worry me a little bit. But this month, a 12-4 strikeout walk ratio is not that bad. But his strikeout rate still isn't back up to like the level that it was in the past. He has been a decent strikeout pitcher in the past, but he's had to deal with injuries. He's not really the same guy anymore. But again, he is pitching okay right now. Up against the White Sox, historically, in 36 at-bats, he has dominated them. 13-2 strikeout walk ratio, 194 average allowed, and 542 OPS. So Erod has done pretty well against this bad White Sox lineup. He is up against Shane Smith, who is the best of the starting pitchers that the White Sox have. Given that it's his rookie season, he's having a good one. 2.85 ERA, 1.22 whip. He is coming off his worst start of the season against St. Louis, but maybe that was more of an outlier than anything else. But I'm worried a little bit because he does have a 12-7 strikeout walk ratio this month, even though the first 2 starts this month he gave up 0 and 1 run and has a 3.45 ERA this month. That last start, where he didn't make it 5 innings, walked more than he struck out. That concerns me a little bit with the fact that maybe he's coming out of form a little bit here. He's been pretty similar home and away. I mean, the splits are not really that significant. And, of course, he's up against a team that has never faced him before, which is, I don't even remember. Who the hell are they playing? No, not Cincinnati. Arizona, right? Yeah, so Arizona has never seen Smith before, so that is an edge. When you have these young pitchers that do have pretty good stuff, they'll have an early edge more often than not against hitters that haven't seen them before, because the hitters have to figure them out, haven't faced them in a live game environment yet. There isn't really that much game footage on these guys yet. So the hitters take a little bit of time to adjust usually. So I think there is a little bit of an edge for Smith there in that game. So I might say under would be the lean in that game. I mean, the total is fairly high, up from 8.5 all the way to 9. Juice to the over, 8.5 juice to the over, and a 9.5 juice to the over. 88% of tickets, 99% of the cash on the over. I'm not sure that I really agree with that move. I could see this going under, but I actually probably would also lean to the White Sox getting this underdog price here, because Arizona's bullpen sucks. Both bullpens suck. So the bullpens, there's no real edge one way or the other really with the bullpens. And Smith might have a little bit of a starting pitching edge over Eduardo Rodriguez if you think that Smith's last start was an outlier. The fact that he's just unfamiliar to the opponents might give him a little bit of an edge. We do see 72% of tickets, 95% of the cash coming in Arizona. They have dropped from -143 to -138. But with Smith on the mound, getting an underdog price at home is kind of a tempting way to look. And maybe I would still take the bullpens out of the equation. You could go first 5 innings. if you like the starting pitching matchup there. But I think Eduardo Rodriguez, his career numbers against the White Sox, who are a bad offense, do kind of speak to something as well, though. So I actually think the under is probably the preferred way to play that. Arcade, what's up, man? All right. Pittsburgh at Milwaukee. Milwaukee is returning home from a road trip where they went to the Chicago Cubs. One of the games got postponed, and they did not replay it yet. That game is rescheduled for August sometime when they face Chicago again in Wrigley later on in the year. They're coming off a ridiculous sweep of Minnesota where Milwaukee absolutely crushed Minnesota. This Milwaukee offense, I think, has actually been quite good on the road, and they scored no fewer than 9 runs in any of the games against Minnesota. Really, really ridiculous, scoring 35 runs in 3 games in that series, including a 17-run outburst. And they've scored 41 runs in the last 4 games, including the last game against the Cubs. The Milwaukee offense is on fire right now, but they're returning home from a road trip. And again, a return home from a road trip is usually an unfocused spot. You get a little bit distracted. You have to return back to family life, and you're coming off a pretty big series against the Cubs in Minnesota, and you might be feeling pretty good about yourselves after scoring 10 runs a game over the last 4 games, more than 10 runs a game over the last 4 games. So the spot is not very good for Milwaukee. Pittsburgh, a little bit of momentum here with that win over Texas, and now they're going back out on the road. You're going to be focused if you're Pittsburgh. I mean, you got Milwaukee, who's near the top of your division. You're at the bottom of your division. You're going to be focused for a game like that. And usually when you finish your homestand with a win or 2 and you go out on the road, you carry that momentum out on the road. Usually it's a pretty good spot. The problem with Pittsburgh here is that Braxton Ashcraft is listed as their starter, and he is not a starter. He has a 1.54 ERA, 1.29 whip this season, but he's basically a relief pitcher, so he's going to be an opener in this game. If he is indeed the starter, he'll probably go out, give you 1 to 2 innings in this game, and then Pittsburgh's going to go to the bullpen. So you're getting a bullpen game for Pittsburgh here, and their bullpen isn't very good, although they did rest yesterday for the most part against that Texas team. It didn't do well against them yesterday, so the rest situation isn't that bad, but Pittsburgh bullpen game doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in me, man. So I don't really love it. You'd also have to be fading Chad Patrick, who was a rookie starter from Milwaukee. 3.5 ERA, 1.28 whip. His whip has gone up a little bit recently. He's been struggling this month with a 5.63 ERA. 19 strikeouts in 16 innings is good this month, but 8 walks. He's been walking too many guys, man. Milwaukee's lost his last 3 starts. He did face decent offenses, San Diego, Atlanta, and the Cubs especially. So maybe you can give him a little bit of a pass for that. He wasn't exactly terrible in any of those starts, and his strikeout stuff is still working. So I still think Patrick is pretty good, especially for a rookie. 2.94 home ERA, so he has been better at home as well. So he's not really a guy I necessarily want to fade, and Pittsburgh hasn't even faced him yet. So you get a bad lineup like the Pirates up against a young pitcher who does have good strikeout stuff that they've never seen before. The pitcher is going to tend to have the edge there, so I don't really want to fade Milwaukee here. Although I think given the spot and the fact that Milwaukee actually hits a little bit worse at home, the fact that Milwaukee's bullpen isn't that good, and by the way, Milwaukee used a ton of relief pitchers yesterday, so the bullpen edge really is not favoring Milwaukee that much here because their bullpen is bad anyway, and they're very unrested after yesterday's crazy high-scoring game against Minnesota. So, yes, there are reasons to fade Milwaukee based on the spot, but I don't love the starting pitching matchup at all. I mean, Pittsburgh's going to be in their bullpen pretty early on, so who knows what you're going to get from them. We do see the money coming in on Pittsburgh, though. Milwaukee down from minus 186 to minus 170, and yeah, I think that is too much of a price to lay on Milwaukee in a spot like this. 51% of the tickets are on them, 70% of the cash on Pittsburgh, so the money, again, is coming in on Pittsburgh, but given the starting pitching matchup, I just can't do it, man. Chad Patrick against a bullpen game, that is definitely an edge in the starting pitching, at least to Milwaukee, but the situation is against them. Minnesota is coming off that series against Milwaukee, and they're staying at home after getting absolutely embarrassed in that home series against Milwaukee. Awful, awful series for Minnesota, so they may come into this game a little bit angry and show up in this game with some focus here. They're facing Seattle, who is coming in from Chicago, so they're not traveling that far, but they're coming off beating the Cubs 14-6 yesterday and scoring 9, 7, and 14 runs in those games. I mean, Seattle's offense isn't even that good, but I know Cal Raleigh is hot right now. You're Seattle, you're going to be feeling pretty high on yourselves. If you just beat the Chicago Cubs in Wrigley Field, you put up a ton of runs against them, you're feeling pretty high on yourselves. So I think the situation is not really that great for Seattle. I think it's a bit better for Minnesota, who's kind of in the more embarrassed spot, where Seattle is in a kind of a letdown spot off of those big games against the Cubs and putting up 14 runs yesterday. Problem is, Minnesota used more of their bullpen yesterday, so Minnesota's bullpen not in the greatest spot. And if you're going to fade Seattle here, you're having to fade Brian Wu, which is usually something I do not recommend. 3.12 ERA, 0.94 whip. Excellent whip. He has been more fadeable on the road, though, with a 3.93 road ERA, so he does pitch better in Seattle's very pitcher-friendly park, but he's pretty good either way. He's doing well this he's doing pretty well this month, although his ERA, 4.26, doesn't really show it, but he's been decent. I mean, even that start where he gave up 5 runs, it was at Arizona, at Chase Field, which that's not an easy place to pitch, and he still did go 6 innings in that game, only walked 1 guy, gave up 2 home runs, so I think those starts against Arizona and Baltimore were a little bit misleading, because when you give up home runs, that jacks up your run total quite a bit. So he gave up 2 home runs apiece in 3 straight starts, which is very unlike him. So I think he settled back down nicely with a 7-inning, 1-hit performance against Boston, although granted that was at home. But I think Wu is kind of back in form after that start. That's kind of what that would tell me. So I don't really want to fade Wu here. Up against Minnesota, his numbers aren't that great, though. In 33 at-bats, Minnesota has a 273 average and 779 OPS against him. Will Castro's 3 for 4 with a home run. Larnach is 2 for 3 with a home run off him. So a couple of guys do have some numbers against him. Small sample size, but Minnesota may be able to hit Wu a little bit. So that is one indicator that maybe Minnesota is at least worth a look. But Minnesota has Bailey Ober going to the mound, and he's a guy, I like Bailey Ober, but he has not been pitching well recently, man. 4.54 ERA now on the season. 1.4 whip is just way too high. You can't put 1.5 guys on base an inning, man. His splits are not really that significant one way or the other, home versus road. He's been really bad this month, though. 8.31 ERA this month in 3 starts, 12-5 strikeout walk ratio, 12-7, excuse me. Granted, he walked 6 guys in that one really bad game against Texas. Bounced back a little bit with no walks in the next start at Great America Ballpark, so he did give up 4 runs. But that is a tough place to pitch, Great American. But even so, Minnesota's lost 5 starts in a row of Ober's after they had won, 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 8 starts. They've lost 5 of his starts in a row. I would say he's not really in great form right now, man, unfortunately. And up against Seattle, Ober does have decent numbers, though, in 52 at-bats. Yeah, 231 average, 695 OPS, 15-6 strikeout walk ratio. So Ober actually has done decently against Seattle. So his matchup numbers specifically are actually a little bit better than Wu's, believe it or not. Money has come in on Seattle, though, flipping them from plus 113 to minus 126. Fairly significant move on Seattle there. 74% of tickets. Public is going to want nothing to do with Minnesota at this point, but 95% of the cash, or 96 now, also on Seattle. So Seattle looks like they are getting the public attention and also the professional money. I think Minnesota, given the spot and that the matchup might be a little bit closer than maybe it looks, might be worth a look, but I don't like how the bullpen situation sets up with Minnesota using a lot of their bullpen yesterday. So I think maybe a first 5-inning look on Minnesota, maybe, but do we trust Ober with how bad he's been pitching recently? Probably not. So even though you are getting a home underdog price now in Minnesota in a good spot, I'll lay off. Dalton, what's up, man? Does Corey Seager have a good day? For that, I usually just kind of look to the hitting versus pitching stats, really. So Texas is at Baltimore against Trevor Rogers. I don't even know if Rogers has any history against Seager. Let me see. Actually, did I even mention, thank you for pointing this out, actually, because I don't even think I looked at Rogers' stats against Texas, so thank you for reminding me. 37 at-bats he has against Texas. They have 10 hits against him, a 270 average, 767 OPS, so another reason to look to Texas's side here is the fact that Texas's offense has hit Rogers decently when they have seen him. Your man Seager here was only 1 for 6 off him with a strikeout, though. So he's not really a guy that I would look for as far as player props are concerned based on that. So my opinion would be that I would not look for him to have a big day just based on his history against this pitcher. But, of course, anything could happen. But, obviously, I mean, looking at these stats here, it looks like Garcia and Semien are the guys that have the good numbers against him. 3 for 6 with a double and a home run for Garcia. Semien is 3 for 7 with a double and a couple of walks. Those would probably be the guys I would look for player props, although I'm not really a prop guy. But I'm very matchup-oriented in baseball. I look at statistics more in baseball analytics than I do in any other sport, where I really go situational with every other sport, but I still factor the situation into baseball as well. Cubs are at St. Louis. The Cubs are coming off that embarrassing loss to Seattle. They gave up a lot of runs in that series, man. They gave up 9, 7, and 14 runs in those games. That's not good. So it might be good for them to just get out of there and go on the road. So I think it's a good spot for the Cubs to just forget about what just happened at home. You're embarrassed. Don't listen to what the media is saying about you right now. Forget about it. Go on the road. Face St. Louis. I think it sets up decently for Chicago here. I think they actually didn't use much of their bullpen yesterday either. Colin Ray got hammered in that game yesterday, but the Cubs knew the game was out of hand, so they just used like 2 relief pitchers to eat up a bunch of innings yesterday. So the Cubs bullpen is actually in decent shape coming into this game against St. Louis. I would say the Cubs have the better bullpen over St. Louis. After a rough start to the season, the Cubs bullpen has become like one of the, probably about like a top third bullpen, I would say, whereas St. Louis is pretty mid as far as their bullpen. I think they used a couple of their relievers yesterday as well. Looking at the starting pitching matchup, Ben Brown is pitching for the Cubs, and he's a guy that I keep saying he's better than his stats look. 5.57 ERA, 1.48 whip. His stats are getting skewed by a couple of really bad starts, which, yes, I know he's had a number of really bad starts. He's basically either he gives you a really, really good start or a really awful start. You have to figure out which one is it going to be. So you have to kind of be the Brown whisperer here. But based on his strikeout rate, like, I don't think he's that bad of a pitcher, man. He has 17 strikeouts this month and 17 and 2/3 innings. That's not that bad, especially given that it was against Detroit, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee, with those first 2 being on the road. Those are tough offenses to face. 6 walks, a little bit high, but Brown, he's a guy that does ratchet up the strikeouts and or rack up the strikeouts, I should say. He does get a little bit wild as well, though. But I think he's decent. I actually like Ben Brown more than his numbers would suggest. His home road split's not very significant. Batter versus pitcher stats up against, who are we looking at? St. Louis. They've actually never faced Ben Brown before, even though he is in their division. So Brown actually has another added edge here with the fact that he's a good strikeout pitcher, young pitcher, and he's facing an offense that's a decent offense in St. Louis. Really, I've kind of said that they're like middle of the pack, but they're actually a decent offense. But Brown might have a little bit of an edge here because St. Louis has never seen him before. He's going up against Matthew Liberatore, who's a pretty decent starter for St. Louis. 4.08 ERA, 1.16 whip is pretty good. He's been a little bit better at home, although not that significantly, but a 3.95 home ERA. Has a really bad ERA this month, 8.4. He got blasted by Kansas City, which is not a good sign because that's a bad offense. Had 3 bad starts in a row against some offenses that aren't really that great. Texas, Kansas City, Toronto. But he does have a 10-2 strikeout walk ratio this month, and he did bounce back with a start against the White Sox. Granted, it is the White Sox. They're a terrible offense, but if you're trying to get yourself back into form, maybe that is the medicine for you. Face the White Sox, get a good start under your belt, get back in rhythm. So Liberatore might be kind of rounding back into form here. I mean, he's been having a decent season overall. So I think he was just in a bad stretch, and he might be coming out of that bad stretch. I know he's facing the Cubs, who are one of the best offenses in all of baseball, but they're actually not that good against him. In 22 at-bats, 4-4 strikeout walk ratio. Isn't that good for Liberatore? But he's held him to a 182 batting average and a 671 OPS. So I actually like both starting pitchers here. I don't hate the bullpen situation for either team, so I would lean under in that game. I know the total is high. It's at 9, although it looks like the money is actually coming in on the under, dropping that with some juice on the under 9. So if you like the under, Actually, this might be my other play. I might actually be forgetting. Hang on, because I said I had one more play. Let me see. What did I do? Yeah, this is my play. Fuck it. We're adding a play here. I'm not adding it. I already had this listed as good. This is going to be one of the plays for me. I am doing this. This is going to be an under in the full game, under 9. There's a little bit of juice there. I found it at minus 115 out there at one of the mass sports books, Massachusetts. I would go up to minus 120 to get it under 9 because, again, 9 is a key number in baseball. These odd numbers are key numbers in baseball for baseball totals because you need that odd run to break a tie in the game potentially. So under 9, I like that. Yeah, the total is high, and the books usually will put out a total high for a reason. But in this, I don't think. Yeah, I think it's too high in this matchup, man. I think Ben Brown, his horrible numbers are kind of skewing what the books have to do here. Again, I think this is kind of a sneaky underplay because the Cubs' offense is so good. But I think Liberatore could settle them down a bit. Ben Brown is a lot better than he looks, so I think this is a sneaky underplay here. 52% of tickets are on the over, but 80% of the cash coming on the under. So the money does seem to agree with me on this. I like it. Under in Cubs Cardinals. Minus 116. Yeah, I mean, I would do that. Yeah, that's a decent price. Hopefully people aren't going to come yelling at me, though, for for giving these recommendations if they lose, man. My baseball season, just to throw it out there, my baseball season has been mediocre this season. Usually baseball is one of my better sports, so hopefully it's going to be turning around a bit. And again, I'm not betting these right now just because I'm out of an actual job right now, and I'm trying to conserve my money, and a lot of my money is not liquid right now, so I'm trying to lay off it a little bit, but I am handicapping these games as if I was going to bet them. So 2 more games here. We have these Pacific Coast games that are the late night games. My Boston Red Sox are going to Anaheim. The Red Sox are already on the West Coast. They just lost that series to San Francisco. Not happy about that, obviously. They're coming off a game where their defense just really let them down in this game against the Giants yesterday. Red Sox actually out-hit the Giants. They're winning the game into the 7th inning. They gave up 5 late runs to blow the game after they were winning the game 5-4. Multiple unearned runs came across. Red Sox fielding just can't get the job done, man. Red Sox bullpen, seriously not good. Zach Kelly, he's got to go away, man. I hate Zach Kelly. Sorry, but he just has not gotten the job done with the Red Sox. Ship him out of town. Ship him out of Boston. Another guy that he just ship out of Boston is the guy they have on the mound here, Walker Buehler. He sucks. I said they never should have picked him up. He's never been good after his absence and injury and surgery and whatever the hell he had. I don't know if it was Tommy John or something else, but he has not been right since then, man, which is probably part of the reason why the Dodgers got rid of him. He sucks. 5.95 ERA, 1.51 whip. Disgusting numbers. Terrible. And I don't mean disgusting in a good way. Terrible numbers. Surprisingly, he's actually been better at Fenway this year. He's been atrocious on the road. 9.23 road ERA with a 3.59 opponent batting average. 8 home runs allowed on the road in fewer innings pitched. And that's versus Fenway, which is a pretty hitter-friendly park. What are you doing, guy? Walker Buehler sucks. This month, he has an 11.68 ERA in 3 starts. He's given up 21 hits in 12 1/3 innings, 4 home runs, 7 walks, compared to 11 strikeouts. Okay. And he actually had 1 good start in there against Tampa, too. The road starts were awful. Granted, one was against the Yankees. Okay. Maybe we give him a pass for that because the Yankees are a good hitting team. You don't give him a pass for giving up 8 runs in 3 1/3 and walking 4 guys at Seattle, which is a pitcher-friendly park. No. Walker Buehler sucks. He's absolute fade material. At the Anaheim Angels, 64 at-bats against him. The Angels have done really well against him. They have 6 home runs against him. 14-10 strikeout walk ratio, 312 average, 1,062 OPS. Those are really good batting numbers in a sample size like that. Darno is 7 for 15 with a double and a home run and 3 walks against him. So some player props there. Kingery has done some kingery against him, I guess. 2 for 4 with 2 home runs. Yeah, I mean, some of these guys have definitely wailed on Walker Buehler. This is a bad spot for Walker Buehler, dude, pitching on the road against an offense that can hit him. Yeah, this looks like you should fade the Red Sox in this spot, right? The problem is Anaheim has Jack Kohanowitz on the mound, which doesn't look good to me. Anaheim, they are staying at home, so they have a little bit of a travel edge because they're going nowhere. The Red Sox are having to go from Northern California to Southern California, but no time zone shifting for the Red Sox at least. Anaheim, though, staying at home, but they are coming off a big series against Houston. I mean, Houston's atop their divisions. That is a big series, probably bigger than this Red Sox series will be, although Anaheim did just play at Boston not that long ago, and Anaheim did win the series, though, so maybe that's a little bit of a revenge spot for Boston, I guess. Boston losing at Fenway to Anaheim. Maybe they want a little bit of revenge here, but Jack Kohanowitz, I just don't think there's any way you can bet on Anaheim with this guy pitching. 5.38 ERA, 1.55 whip. Not good. He's been pretty bad, both home and away. Not really significant splits one way or the other. Actually has had an increase in his strikeout rate this month with 18 strikeouts in 16 and 2/3 innings. But he's allowed 6 home runs, 20 hits, and 7 walks in 4 starts. So he has not been good this month either. He, too, also had a bad start against Seattle and did okay against the Yankees. So take from all that what you will, I guess. But he has a 6.48 ERA this month. He's Kohanowitz, man. He's not in good form. He's only gone more than 4 1/3 innings once in 4 starts this month. And that probably means you're going to get Anaheim's bullpen coming into this game. And Anaheim's bullpen is atrocious. So where is all this leading? Yeah, this is leading to, I think I would say, the over is the way to play this. But the Red Sox have never faced Kohanowitz, so maybe the Red Sox will struggle against him a little bit because he is striking out guys right now, and a guy that an offense has never seen before. Maybe they'll struggle to figure him out a little bit early on, but I just don't think you can trust Kohanowitz. I mean, his control has just been all over the place this year, man. He's not good. So I think the over is probably the way to look here. If I were to give you a lean on this, the market is disagreeing with me, though. Total is down from 9, juiced to the over to 9. 81% of the tickets are on the over, 75% of the cash on the under. I'm actually really surprised the money's coming in that strongly in the under. I don't know how you could possibly justify an under with this starting pitching matchup and these bullpens. I don't get it. The money is coming in against the Red Sox, it looks like, too, a little bit. They're down from -130 to -114, and they are public. We see 79% of tickets on Boston. I mean, given the choice, the public will be on the name team, the Red Sox, against a bad team like Anaheim. 89% of the cash looks like it's on the Red Sox. I'm not sure if that's really accurate, though. I think the line move is actually probably the more accurate read on this market here against the public there. So I probably would lean to Anaheim slightly as the home underdog there, but I still think over is probably the way to look in that game. And then finishing this off, we have Washington at San Diego. San Diego's staying at home. They just beat Kansas City in a series. Not a whole lot to read into there. And Kansas City, not a very good team. Some low-scoring games in that series. Washington coming off playing a series against the Dodgers. They are coming off a big series. They just got drilled 13-7 yesterday, so they gave up a lot of runs. This Washington bullpen is no good. One of the worst bullpens in baseball, and they did have to use 4 relief pitchers yesterday. So obviously, Washington bullpen is something that you do want to fade. Mitchell Parker is pitching for Washington here, and he is probably a guy you want to look to fade as well. 4.59 ERA, 1.32 whip. Not good stats this season. He's been significantly worse on the road as well with a 5.93 ERA on the road. That's not good. This month, he's been mediocre, 4.43 ERA. 18-5 strikeout walk ratio is pretty good, though. In his last start, he did go 6 innings of 1-run ball, 8 strikeouts, no walks, but it was at home against the Colorado Rockies, and we know how bad the Rockies' offense is, especially on the road. So I still think Parker is probably pretty fadeable here. He's also been alternating good and bad starts over this month, and that would mean he's in line for a bad start here. Washington, they've lost 5 straight Mitchell Parker starts. Granted, I mean, Washington, they're just not a good team in general. So even if Parker has pitched well, they haven't backed him up with any offense in those games either. They scored 1 run total over those 2 games, so out of his control, but Parker has not been good generally. So I think he is a guy that you could probably fade here. Against San Diego, his numbers are bad. Small sample size, 21 at bats, but 429 average against, 931 OPS. Not good numbers for Parker against San Diego. He's going up against Steven Kolek, who is a guy that I'm having trouble figuring out who he really is, man, for the Padres. 3.59 ERA, 1.29 whip. That whip is definitely too high. He's been significantly worse at home, which is kind of surprising because San Diego plays in one of the most pitcher-friendly parks, but virtually all of his starts have been on the road. So he's only made 2 home starts, 7 road starts. So very strange the way that it's worked out for Kolek. He's pitched a ton on the road. Still in his 2 home starts, he has a 9.58 ERA. So do we read that much into that? Maybe, because he had a bad home start against Miami, and we know they're not a good offense. And his other home start was against Seattle, which also wasn't very good. So, yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah, he is bad at home. Up against Washington, they only have 5 at-bats against him, or, well, 5 at-bats, but then they also have, like, a walk and some other stats going on here. A 400 batting average against him and a 1,100 OPS. So I actually think both pitchers are probably pretty fadeable here, and you have at least one bad bullpen in Washington. So I actually think an over is probably the lean in that game. Definitely would not rise to being a play here. It looks like the total has gone from 8.5 juice to the under to a straight 8.5. So it looks like some money has agreed with me on that over. Yeah, I mean, I would say that's a lean, but that's a pretty weak lean. And that's going to do it, man. I mean, that's the whole baseball card today. I know I go into a lot of detail here. Even with a short baseball card, we got an hour video here. But thanks, guys, for hanging out. Andrew, Reed Hearted, Arcade, Dalton, thanks, guys. Hopefully, we're going to get some winning plays here today. Once again, those plays. Texas Rangers on the money line is a little bit of an underdog. Atlanta Braves money line is a favorite. Or play them on the run line or something along those lines. I wouldn't really mind Atlanta over their team total in that game either, I guess, if you want to find some other way to play Atlanta. And then Cubs St. Louis under 9. That's going to do it, man. So Monday card, I mean, it's a short baseball board and no WNBA today either because I have been handicapping the WNBA. The WNBA is back tomorrow. But that's going to do it, man. So 3 plays, even though there are only 9 baseball games. I have plays on a third of them. Monday, a lot of those Monday situations kind of set up for plays on sides. So I tend to have a higher percentage of plays in the baseball games on Monday than I do in some other games, days of the week. So, yeah, that's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter. The Give, Send, Go is still out there for now if you want to support me in my attempt to return to livelihood, I guess, after being fired for being too offensive. That's givesendgo.com/TowerGangToad, but that's probably going to be, I'm going to take it down shortly because there's not really anything else going on with that. But thanks to everybody for the support, everybody who's supported, shared it, whatever. Tower Gang, if you want to still support Tower Gang, even though I know we're not doing anything right now. I don't know what's going to happen with Tower Gang. That is patreon.com/TowerGang, though, and you still get all the bonus content that we have done in the past, though. So if you think that that's worth throwing some support to Tower Gang, you can do that. Thanks to everybody who came to Bohemian Grove, by the way. It was fun over the weekend, Friday, Saturday. It felt like a big event, man. I mean, some of it was crazy, dude. I got to meet Elijah Schaefer, Jake Shields, got to do his podcast, got to jump on Elijah Schaefer's podcast that he did live there, got to meet all those guys, meet Sam Tripoli. I mean, I never met any of those guys in person before. And Owen Benjamin, got to rehearse with him at Top Lobster's house and then join him on stage for for the Kanye West Heil Hitler cover and a bonus, an encore. Man, never expected that. Like over a decade ago when I started watching Owen Benjamin as a comedian, I really liked him back in the day. Never would I have ever thought that I would be sharing the stage with him, playing an offensive song with him on stage. It's just crazy, man. Life is crazy. Thanks to everybody who came out for that. Thanks to everybody who has supported what's going on there with any of those guys. I mean, yeah, it's fun. I mean, I hope stuff like that continues to happen because we need to push against cancel culture, put that stuff out in the public eye, man. We need get together with like-minded people, but not only do that, but like let the public see what we're doing here, man. Like see, like we're not actually bad people, man. We're just having fun. We're making offensive jokes. I mean, that's all we're doing here. So put that on the public eye and just show we're like a bunch of normal guys hanging out. We're having fun. Join us. You don't want to be just offended and walking on eggshells all the time. That's not a way to live. Laugh at life, baby, and come to our side and join us. That's going to do it. Learn to toad on Twitter once again. Let's have a winning day today with these bets. Peace out, guys.